I will have to say, it's not every day that a radio station like ours has Chris Brown in the studio. I mean, seriously. Now, not the Chris Brown that you're thinking. This is Chris Brown, the mailman. This is Chris Brown, the hero, along with a mom who benefited from Chris Brown saving the baby's life. Absolutely amazing. Thank you guys for coming in this morning.
Thank you so much for having us.
This is so exciting. I mean, we've got a real hero here. But just in case there's folks that are listening that don't know the whole story, could you give us kind of the Cliff Notes version of what happened to baby Eli?
Sure. It was on a Friday afternoon, and Eli had been sick that day, and he tore part of a plastic wrapper on a Puffs container and started to swallow it. So I flipped him over and tried to get it out. Beating him on his back between his shoulder blades, and when it wasn't coming out is kind of when I started to panic and ran out the door screaming for help, and that's when Chris was there, our mailman.
Yeah, I'm very curious. What were you thinking as you're running out the door and you're screaming for help?
Well, at first I thought it was my husband, but then I quickly realized that it was Chris, and I was just screaming for help, and I was kind of really, really panicking, so I don't know. It was so crazy. I was so thankful Chris was there.
Yeah.
And Chris, you weren't really supposed to be there at that moment, right?
No, earlier I received some help from a carrier named Angel, and that delayed me about 3 or 4 minutes. And I also thought about giving her that section, but I said, nah, I'll take it, and I gave her another part. And then what made it kind of ironic also was when I pulled up, I normally just put the mail in and keep going. But Miss Stephanie had a package that day. And I noticed the package before I drove off. That's what made me stop, and what she probably heard was my truck stopping because her husband, he drives a truck also. So anyway, as I walked to the house, here she come with baby Eli running out. And I was like, whoa, what's going on here? So next thing I know, he was in my arms, and she was there with me also, and I started doing the Heimlich on him, and after the second time, everything just came right out, and he started breathing and crying and all that stuff. So it was a very good thing.
In the middle of all that, Chris, what were you thinking? What were you feeling?
At first I was scared because I didn't know how long he wasn't breathing. And then, mom couldn't really tell me much because she was, in a state, and he couldn't tell me anything because, he's a baby. So I was just thinking about getting him breathing again. That was the only thing on my mind, was I have to try to get him breathing or, get him responsive again. And like I said, God worked it out and things just happened.
Did you have training?
Yes. Like I said, about maybe 25 years ago in the Marine Corps, they trained us on Heimlich and CPR, different things like that. And all those years of training, then also the Post Office had a lot of first aid training, things you never think you're going to use, but it came in handy that day. So I thank the Marine Corps, and I also thank the Post Office.
So how many times have you had to use your CPR?
That was the first time I did the Heimlich, the first time for anything. And I figured the CPR was coming next, because if I couldn't get him breathing again, then I guess, that would have probably had to come next. But thank God I didn't have to go that far.
Oh, my goodness. And so last week, the two of you had a very exciting week. You were flown out to L.A. to appear on the Ellen Talk Show.
Yes.
But I understand that, Stephanie, you got to ride in a fancy car, but poor Chris over here had to take the airport shuttle.
Yes. We had the royal treatment. And Chris, he was able to come, thankfully. We were able to get it worked out, and the post office was able to cover him going. But he had to ride separately from us, and Ellen wasn't allowed to pay for.
Right.
Can you explain that, Chris?
Well, it was nice. I really enjoyed the trip. I'm thankful that the Post Office even stepped up to do that, because I wouldn't have been able to afford it. Even though I was going to risk my little emergency fund to go. But got to the airport and had to schedule the shuttle to pick me up. So it was a nice ride. I was with maybe 7 other people in the van. But they kind of rubbed it in and said, wow, we were in the Escalade and it was so nice. And I was like, okay.
Why couldn't you get the royal treatment? I mean, come on.
Well, the Post Office has certain ethics and rules that because of being a government employee, they can't receive anything over $20 from a customer. So, unfortunately, I had to take the shuttle bus. But it was nice. It was real nice.
You're in L.A. I mean,
In
come
LA,
on.
yeah.
From Greenville, South Carolina to L.A.
Yes.
But Stephanie got the royal treatment. How did you feel? Have you ever experienced anything like that in your life?
Have you, Stephanie?
Me? Oh, sorry, I thought you were talking about
that's
him.
fine.
No, I had never experienced anything like that. It was such a great experience. We had so much fun out there. And at the end of the day, we were just so thankful that Chris was able to do the Heimlich and save my son, because that is what the story is all about.
Absolutely.
Right.
And you got kind of a funny gift from Ellen. She rolled out a mailbox
Yeah.
that says, what does it say? My mailman is a hero.
Yes, and we were kind of hoping we could actually put it up in our subdivision, but I don't know if our HOA will let us.
Oh, come on. They should.
I know, they definitely should. We want to put the mailbox up, but we'll have to see if our HOA allows us. So
They will.
hopefully,
I mean, come
hopefully
on.
it's from Ellen, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And Chris, you couldn't get a gift that was over $20 because of the rules, but
Right.
she did give you something, right?
Right. She gave me, I guess, a pass or a ticket to come back to one of their shows called the 12 Days of Giving. And so I'm really excited about it. Hope I can get back. I said I'm going to start saving my pennies now so that way I can make it back there. And I'd love to go with Stephanie and Mr. David again, because we had so much fun just spending a little bit of time with each other and just talking, and went walking in Universal City Park and took some pictures, and that was just awesome, you know. So I'm looking forward to going back, and I'm going to do everything possible to make it back there.
That's awesome. Take now, and you're still a postman. You haven't let this fame go to your head.
No. I have maybe 7-8 more years, hopefully, before I can retire. And so I love my job. I mean, I'm excited. I go in every day, and my customers have been fantastic. I mean, it's been phenomenal. I mean, folks coming up to me that I haven't really met. Hey, Chris Brown, like we're like, you know, like we hung out together the other night, and I'm like, hey, how are you? And I'm looking at the mail like, hey, Mrs. Johnson, how are you? You know, like I know them, but it's been fantastic. I mean, the people at the post office, you know, my coworkers, they've been great, you know, coming up to me, hugging me, and they're even getting certain little gifts from customers on the street, like, hey, Chris Brown is great. You're great too. Come here, you know. So they're also, you know, loving it and enjoying all of the, you know, I guess fame or just the accolades. It's been great.
So theoretically speaking, you can get under $20 from individual people.
Yes.
Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. So if everybody on Chris Brown's route
Give
chipped
$20.
in, gives $20 or under, and make it more than a penny, please, then you could possibly get that trip to L.A.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Possibility, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes, possibility.
I've thought about trying to get like a fund together or something, you know, to try and cover it.
But would the fund not work? Because it's one big lump sum? So it would have to be like individual people giving it, right?
That's how it would probably work.
Okay.
Yes. But I haven't really thought about that. That's a good idea.
Why not? you know?
Good job, Rob. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm just thinking. I want to get him back to
I
LA.
like this.
and
I like
can't
where
do
you're
it.
going with this.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people listening are just feeling more appreciation for their mail carriers.
Yes,
So, Joe,
yes.
if you're listening, I love you.
Yes.
You know your mail carrier's name?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
No
Well, I'm
way.
hoping now that he's trained with the Heimlich and stuff in case I ever need him.
Yeah.
My mail
hope
carrier
so.
is Dude.
Dude.
Yeah.
Dude. How you doing, dude? That's great. Stephanie and Chris, thank you for spending time with us today.
Thank you
Yes,
so much
thank
for having
you.
I
us.
know you took a lot of time out of your schedules to be here.
Yeah, we'll have a few minutes to get to work.
Oh, you do?
Gotta let him go.
So we better boogie you out the door, huh? And you got some time. You work for Stephanie we're talking to. You work for Holly Tree.
Pediatric dentistry.
Pediatric.
Yep.
There's a lot of holly trees around. So that's dentistry, right?
It is, yes.
Okay.